Hello and welcome back to the Secret Dungeon Podcast. I am your host, Cheney, and with me as always, Corey.
Hello, hello.
What's up, dude?
I'm just like wondering why the bottom of my water bottle's sticky.
Oh, Grand Mystery?
Yeah, I think it's because I had it in my cup holder in my truck on the way over here, and Bo spilt some tea in my cup holders earlier today.
Girl spilt tea?
Who?
Girl spilt tea?
No, he did not. He just spilled some sweet tea.
Lamb.
There you go. There's a little bit of a drinking on the mic right there.
What's up? How we doing, folks? How we doing today?
Doing pretty good, man. How about yourself?
My eye hurts.
Yeah,
it looks like it hurts.
It looks
because
like
it does hurt.
Yeah, you told me a little bit about it.
Yeah.
Previous.
I had a blue collar powwow at the end of a stick today.
A blue collar powwow is crazy.
Yeah. It powed, I wowed, and I bled a lot.
Did you really bleed a lot?
I instantly bled a lot.
Really?
Yeah, I immediately threw my hand up and was trying to pressure the pain back into my skull. and at one point I felt something really wet, and I was like, surely it's not my tears. And I looked down, and it's like a pool of blood in my hand. And yeah.
And then you passed out?
No, I didn't pass out.
Are you squeamish when it comes to blood and anything like that? Are you squeamish about anything?
Not when it's my own.
It's other people's blood and stuff that gets you?
No. The only time blood really gets to me is when I see it go through a syringe. I don't know why that gets to me. That makes me squeamish.
Do what now?
Yeah, drawing blood and stuff. That'll make me pass out.
Really?
Every time. I don't know why. I have such a fear of needles that it transcends into that point.
Yeah, we could never be heroin.
No, we can never shoot.
It's funny
heroin.
because
I'm too squeamish for that.
I also have a thing about needles. I'm fine with anything else. You remember 2 years ago, I cut my hand wide open at work, and it was wide open. It was bad, and I was just like, oh.
I remember you was like, well, that's going to need stitches. And you was really sad about it.
Yeah.
I was also sad for you.
Dude, Cameron was standing in front of me, and he was just like, ooh,
yeah,
it's going to be okay.
Cameron to make
it's going to be
worse.
okay. It's going to be okay.
Makes everything worse.
And I was literally just like, well. Dude, it was it was that connective tissue between your forefinger and your thumb. I cut straight through that, probably an inch. It was so bad that the doctor in the ER took a picture of it for her personal portfolio of really bad stitches, really bad stuff for stitches and whatnot.
I bet you doctors have all kinds of weird collections like that.
Oh, I would.
If I was a doctor, I'd be sick enough to do it too.
I remember whenever I was doing it, I was like, I'm fine with literally anything except for needle stuff. And I had never had stitches before. Now I'm just going to go ahead and assume that I can't watch it. So I just looked off to the other side. I was fine,
Yeah, I don't like stitches because it feels like a bee sting every time. I don't like that.
What do you mean it feels like a bee sting?
That's how it feels to me. Even after they numb me, I still feel the bee sting.
Well, then they didn't numb you enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't really feel anything. All I felt was just a little bit of pressure.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had all kinds of crazy stuff happen to me. I've had broken bones, surgeries, all that good stuff.
Yeah, you had a crazy skateboarding accident. You got some nasty scars on your right arm, left arm?
Yeah, it's my right arm. And now every winter and every spring it hurts tremendously. It's gonna rain tomorrow. I know it's gonna rain tomorrow.
You feel it?
Dude, it's been hurting all evening.
Really?
It's been really hurting.
That's
so not only have I had this powwow with the big stick at work and gave myself this bloody black eye, my arm has been really hurting me.
What's really funny is that people act like that's a really old person thing. But it's get a little bit of scar tissue on your muscle or anything like that, something beneath the skin layer, and you will start to feel it.
Yeah.
For me, it's my knees get real bad. My
What's
knees will do stuff.
Yeah, I have bad skateboarding knees, so they hurt. Especially going upstairs. Now, like regular walking and jogging and stuff like that, my knees don't really bother me.
Yeah.
It's just when I go upstairs, that's when my knees like really bother me, or when I crawl, especially when I crawl. Like getting down and kneel and pray is like is horrendously hurtful.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, I remember when we was trying to work out a bunch, and anytime we would do anything where there was impact on your knees, you would like hit the ground.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's like knives in my knees.
Yeah, I've felt that before.
And now I've got back problems.
Dude,
Let me tell you how I'm old without telling you that I'm old, bro. What is going on, dude?
we just started off being like, we're so old. We're falling apart, dadgummit.
Bruh. This ain't cool.
No. So
Yeah.
I had a couple things that I wanted to talk about today.
Yeah, what you got?
Better
than this old cast.
So first I wanted to talk about, I tried something new.
Go on.
I tried something brand new in the gaming sphere.
Oh, yeah, what you got?
In the tabletop gaming sphere.
Oh, okay.
So back in the day, way back in the day, for me and you were ever even thought of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like our kids were, or our parents were our kids' age, like that long ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
They used to do something that was like play by mail, where you would play a tabletop game by mail, and you would like mail in your moves and all that kind of stuff, and it would be just like very slow, right? But it'd be a lot of I don't know exactly what kind of games they would play with that. My guess would be that they would be like army commanding games and whatnot.
I sent troops over to you.
Yeah, stuff like that. That's what my guess of that would be like.
Sounds cool.
Just because of how long it would take. Because if you were trying to do just like a normal like fantasy, you control
Dungeon
one player.
Crawler. Yeah,
dude,
that'd be horrendous.
Yeah, that'd be murder. You'd be like a month would go by before you'd make your second round of combat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
if you even made it that far.
So I started doing something. I'm a part of a Patreon for a YouTuber that I really like. And he sends out like monthly zines and whatnot. His name's JP Couvert. If you like tabletop creators, he's probably my number one. Right?
Don't air him out.
Huh? What?
Who's this guy again?
Yeah, JP Couvert. I'll say that guy's name again because he's fantastic. Anyways, in his Discord, somebody put out that they was wanting to run one of his like campaign adventures, Dragontown.
Yeah.
In a play-by-post in Discord.
Oh.
To where I've never heard these people's voices or anything like that. I don't know their real names. I don't know nothing. Basically, we know each other by our characters.
Yeah, I relate to that.
And we're playing Shadow Dark, but we're playing through Dragontown.
That's cool.
A little bit. It's very slow.
Yeah.
But instead of like a round of combat being like, I'm going to swing my axe at this goblin and roll, and then, you know, you don't hear anything back for like a couple of hours, you narrate like whole moves and everything that you're going to do. And so one of the things that I did was we got ambushed by goblins. Like it was a whole caravan going through somewhere, and we got ambushed, and we were in different wagons. You know, they were covered wagons and whatnot. We were in different wagons, and so the one that I was in didn't have any real goblins around it, but there was a bunch of unarmed people there. And so I just, like playing a priest, I just stood there with my shield in their way and waited for anything to come to me, and arrows shot at my character, and I ended up being able to block them and all that kind of stuff with my shield and what have you. And it's actually like the descriptions of what you do have to be a lot longer, right?
Yeah. They have to be more descriptive, I imagine.
You have to be a lot more descriptive about what you do, and then you have to be more proactive in your turn. It's literally not like
you need to write like at least 5 paragraphs.
No. You could probably do 1 paragraph and it'd be fine.
Really?
Yeah, it's not that long.
You could get away with 2 being like a long.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Long drawn action.
You know, like 1 to 3 paragraphs is normal.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of
normal.
that's what I was that average.
Yeah, and then once everyone has sent their actions in, the GM pretty much lays out the scene as it happens. And then he moves to the next round of what happens. And so currently what has happened entirely, we've only been playing this for 2 days so far in Play by Post.
Yeah.
We have been attacked. I have killed a bugbear, trying to protect people and whatnot.
Yeah.
And some more goblins have come out of the woods and hijacked the caravan and ran off into the woods. The person that hired us has died. And then a couple of his goons has died. And then one of the players has already died because Shadow Dark.
Yeah.
And so me being a dwarf, I was like, what am I going to do? I need to try to get to where I can like try to protect people and whatnot. Well, the caravans were kind of getting out of my way. I mean, getting away from me. So I got on a horse or tried to hop on a horse and like run after them. But I rolled a nat 1 to hop on the back of a horse.
You straight broke your back.
And so, oh no. So it took off and we were in a swamp basically. And these goblins are taking the caravans through the swamp, just off the road and just going through a swamp, right?
Yeah.
My character is going through like on the back of a horse, hits a log. The horse breaks its leg, and I fly through the air, and then whenever I stand up, I'm completely alone in the swamp.
You pitch rocketed yourself into lone
Oh,
town.
yeah. Oh, yeah. So,
You have no idea where you're at.
I have no idea where I'm at right now. And so I'm like, right now, while you was doing some stuff over here, and I'd already had the podcast set up, and I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and make my move. Sorry, I dropped my water bottle. Everything's fine, though. Everything's fine. I promise.
That is like the scariest thing I just seen.
No, it's fine. Everything's cool.
No, the water bottle though.
Oh, did you not think
Over
it was
the
closed?
Yeah, I thought we were.
No,
about
dude,
to
I'm not
drown,
an animal. I'm not an animal.
Thought we were about to drown,
No.
dude.
Yeah.
This podcast is going under the sea, brother.
So like my last move that I just made is I'm asking the GM, like I'm trying to get really still and hear, because like if I'm in the woods, I'm gonna hear some kind of calamity going on. They're not that far from me, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get really, really still so I can hear where everything's coming from, and I asked them what kind of a check that would be, and so I'm pretty much waiting on a reply for that. It's kind of interesting. It makes me kind of want to do something similar. Like, I think that would be pretty cool to do. But I don't know, like you could definitely do that with Elgrune. Like, you could do that with any system, really. As long as, because I use one of the pre-generated characters for Shadow Dark, and I just use his character sheet for everything. He gave us a thread in Discord that is just our character sheets.
Yeah.
So like I have my own character sheet, and everyone else has their own thread in their character sheet and all that kind of stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is. It is really, really cool. But that whole experience has been interesting because it's like instead of like, we talk about doom scrolling on social media and whatnot, I'm kind of like checking Discord to see, if there any moves have gone on, and then see what the otother players have done and whatnot.
Yeah, that's interesting though.
Yeah, it's actually like really, really cool.
Part of the story.
Yeah, it's like we're actually doing something,
Yeah.
because it's like, people wonder from time to time, is like, where has my time gone? It's gone to social media. You hop off of there, you have so much more time.
I actually deleted Instagram about 3 days ago.
Nice.
Yeah. It's pretty bad when you catch yourself checking it, like trying to check in. You're like, oh yeah, I deleted it.
Yeah. What's bad too is
we'll see. Week 1 of healing. Let's go nature.
What's bad about it is like, what am I even doing on there besides trying to waste time?
Nothing. So
that's literally what I'm trying to do.
I've actually ended up spending more time playing a game on my phone.
What game, Cheney?
It's kind of been a problem. But a good problem.
Yeah.
Man, I'm the stepping king of Alabama, though. So,
what does that mean?
So,
stepping king? What is that?
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. So, I've been playing Pikmin Bloom, and it's made by Niantic and Nintendo.
Oh, Niantic did this one too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's another one of those GPS games.
Yeah, it's like Pokemon Go, but for Pikmin.
Right. Well, it's a glorified step counter.
Right.
Where it keeps up with your steps, but as you walk, you grow Pikmin. You get to pluck them, and then you kind of like start, like amassing an army.
Yeah.
And then after you get so many, you can do raids, which is like you join other people who also walk a lot and grow Pikmin, and you attack giant mushrooms, and then you get like special Pikmin. It's a whole collectible. It's sickening, dude. It's sickening what you people do to me. I've been getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
It's fine.
4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Going for like a mile walk.
That's pretty dope, though.
But
you play with a lot of like Korean and Japanese people, don't you?
Thing. So that's the thing. I accidentally.
What sucks is you can't actually talk to them.
I know. So I ended up making like friends with a bunch of South Korean people.
Yeah, definitely not North
Japanese
Koreans. There's
people.
no North Koreans.
Yeah, no, they're all South Koreans. It's a bunch of South Koreans and Japanese people, and a couple Chinese people, and a couple Germans and a couple French. I have like a handful of American friends. Most of them are Asian though. And them suckers hit me up in the wee hours of the morning.
You know, it's crazy.
Help us raid, brother.
Yeah.
And I send them every time. I send a whole wad of Pikmin every time.
Send them. Send in the horde.
Yeah.
Dude,
So
imagine a Pikmin war game.
I got some gnarly Pikmin, dude. I just completed a set today.
Really?
Yeah, they have like sets where it's like a cafe Pikmin, and it's like Pikmin in different costumes. Supermarket Pikmin, chef Pikmin, post office Pikmin.
Dude, imagine
it's sickening, dude, and they're all so stinking cute.
Imagine a Pikmin war game.
Oh God. Oh, there is one. It's called Pikmin 4. It's on Switch. Play that.
It's more of a war game?
Yeah.
Like how?
Well, I mean, you're working for a company and you're like picking a planet dry to pay back debt. I mean, that's kind of, warish.
It's also very Animal Crossing like.
It's very Animal Crossing like.
It's like, welcome to paradise. You're in debt.
Yeah. I thought about playing Animal Crossing on GameCube now that I've got it.
The OG?
The OG one, yeah. I want to play the OG one.
I would kind of like to see like what the difference was. I got my Halloween
cube over here ready.
Well, see, I know that that whenever it comes to like Animal Crossing New Horizons, is that the new one? That's the new one.
That's the newest one.
I just know is Animal Crossing on the Switch. Anyways, and I played a bunch of it. So New Horizons, New Leaf was the one that was on 3DS, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So New Horizons, there was a lot of like internet updates and all that kind of stuff. I wonder what it's like on the GameCube whenever you don't have that kind of thing.
It'd be very interesting to see how it works.
Like, can you also do the time skips and stuff?
I don't know.
Because me and Rachel, we both had Switches and we were both playing Animal Crossing, so I really got into doing the turnip, the turnip time traveling. Yeah, I got really into doing that.
Twisting the turnip market.
Yeah.
I don't know how the original on the GameCube's gonna go.
Did they come out with one on the Wii?
I might be wrong, but I don't think so.
Let's look.
I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
I feel like I typed in American
Crossing.
Animal Crossing, not American
Nah, it's
Crossing.
just you're in debt to the bald eagle and Uncle Sam, and you're on an island of other.
Is this in Pikmin?
Nah, this is American Crossing. This is my game. This is my game, and it's just a corporate rat race. All your neighbors are rats, and they're all in the same race as you, rat.
I can't really tell. It looks like there is an Animal Crossing on the Wii, and also one on the Wii U. Hold on, I think it's. Let me look real quick. Let me look. It's City Folk is what it's called.
Yes, I don't know anything about
Animal
those.
Crossing City Folk. Well, see, Animal Crossing and all that stuff, Stardew Valley and what have you, they're all just like remakes essentially of
Harvest Moon.
Harvest Moon.
Yeah.
And I played a little bit of Harvest Moon.
I don't
talking
like
about
it.
a very, very minuscule amount of Harvest Moon.
I played the Harvest Moon on Game Boy Color. I hated that game.
I think
I got kind of far in it.
I think
but
it's the
hated
same
it.
one, the Super Nintendo one, because I think it was originally on Super Nintendo and got moved to Game Boy, and they just really haven't done anything with it. Let's get a new Harvest Moon game.
No, they used to have a studio in out in Madison.
Really?
They had a branch out in Madison.
Are the people that did the Harvest Moon game?
I believe so. It was called Harvest Moon Studios. I could be
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Let's look.
I don't know if it's still there, but I've seen it in Madison a time or two off of, I don't want to say Jeff Road. It might have been Slaughter Road. It's like somewhere in that area.
What
I ain't
studio
trying
made
to
Harvest Moon?
dox people though.
Okay, no, it's a different.
It might be a different thing.
It's a whole different thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a. It's
Yeah,
a
because
whole different thing.
I was like, man, why do they have a division out here in Alabama? That don't make no sense.
No, I'm pretty sure that.
But I mean, there are game stuff that comes out of Huntsville.
Like what?
D&D Beyond.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy segue about D&D Beyond is I once went before D&D Beyond became D&D Beyond. The little bit of story behind it, there's a guy in Huntsville who essentially made D&D Beyond.
Yeah.
And it was an independent company at first.
Yeah.
And then they got like exclusive, rights deals with Wizards of the Coast to be able to do all the D&D stuff. And then,
which is why Huntsville's like a big D&D town now.
I don't really know if that's why.
It may not be why. Maybe just because D&D is the garden wall over Tabletop.
It is. I think that's exactly why. But
it's just typical Huntsville. You can't get past the standard, baby.
Yeah, you can't get past the default. Everybody acts like they're into really cool weird niche things, and then you show them the really cool weird niche things. They're
and
like,
then they start backing up.
Yeah, they're like, it's
got
different.
That
I
dude's
don't
got
understand it.
That dude's got a neon green bookshelf. I don't get it.
Yeah, I want to punch them. I don't understand it.
Yeah, everybody thinks they're weird, so they walk up in here.
Yeah. So what happens is, this guy ended up actually getting bought out by Wizards, right? Yep. Then, he ended up leaving D&D Beyond after some time and starting his own thing again, like D&D Beyond, but for
Pathfinder, wasn't it?
No, for everybody.
Oh,
I don't forgot what it was called. If you hadn't asked me, I could have told you. But
I thought it was for Pathfinder.
Isn't it? Well, yeah, it is, but not specifically.
Right.
Like it's for everything. But as I was saying, D&D Beyond is where Wizards of the Coast has begun to shift most of their focus. Remember, you might remember, you might not remember. Last week I told you that D&D is not really in a good spot right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that perfectly segues into another thing that I wanted to talk about. Which is D&D is not in a really good spot right now.
SpaghettiOs. What's going on now?
And now, whenever I talk about this, I don't mean D&D the hobby, the game. I'm talking about D&D the company.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I personally, and I'm gonna make a little bit of a prediction here. Okay. I don't think that D&D will ever die. The hobby, the game. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think that the hobby or the game will ever die. Right.
Right.
I do think that the company will. You good?
It's just kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's like you're. Yeah, I could see that. I could see people just doing that.
Yeah. Let me.
The company just going completely smoke, but people are like,
It's already started.
yeah. How bad is it?
Well, so you know that D&D came out with a new edition last year, right? That edition being called D&D 2024 because they have zero foresight and forget that years keep churning forward. Time keeps
Go forward fast.
yeah.
Time. Now we're in 25.
Yeah, and the years start coming and they don't stop coming and they don't stop coming. The whole thing. What they originally made was actually D&D 5.5 because the edition before that was 5th edition, right?
Correct. Which
has been like the penultimate edition for D&D for years and years and years and years and years and years, right?
Yeah.
Well, back in 23, maybe it was 23. That was whenever the OGL scandal happened, and Wizards of the Coast, not Wizards of the Coast, but maybe it was Wizards of the Coast, or probably it was Hasbro. Regardless, the D&D company, whomever made that decision, tried to screw over all their third-party creators. Well, the reason they did this is because they wanted to keep everyone buying D&D made products, right? And then they shifted the game D&D to be 1/4 of what Dungeons and Dragons was producing, right? They wanted it to become a brand instead of a game, right? Because the C-suite, which is the corporate suite, by the way, wanted to unlock recurrent spending for Dungeons and Dragons, a tabletop game. Because all the people from the C-suite are from Microsoft.
No.
Yeah. The same exact people.
Not those goobers.
The very same that started the microtransactions.
No.
The exact same people.
They're ruining everything.
Yeah, they're ruining everything.
They're literally ruining everything.
And
that is hilarious.
So they said that they wanted to unlock the recurrent spending potential that Dungeons and Dragons could have.
We just had a conversation about there's a reason to own a PlayStation 5 now all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Because everything is gonna be available on PlayStation.
So
Microsoft's Bon Voyage.
Yeah, Bon Voyage, baby.
Because look at all these horrific decisions they keep making.
Yeah.
What? That's insanity, dude.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I would have thought that the Dark Lords behind it all was the microtransaction masters.
Oh, yeah, the microtransaction masters themselves, baby.
29 cents for you and 35
yeah,
for you.
They're all the people that
you get a hat.
that brought microtransactions to the forefront. It's the same people, brother. The same people. So,
dude, wouldn't it be hilarious? They infiltrated the film industry and did the same thing.
That's already started, brother. Don't you know about that? What do you think the streaming services are? I mean, come on, dude. They're trying to make it to where you don't. All right, hold on. This is the whole thing. Give me a second.
Dude, the Illuminati's not like trying to control your children's mind. They're just trying to control your wallet.
Yeah, they just want to nickel and dime you out of all your money.
It's the microtransactions they're trying to get you with.
Yeah, microtransactions
for nothing.
Yeah, welcome
that's
to
NFTs.
The future.
Ain't that NFTs explained basically?
No.
Microtransactions for pixels?
Not yes and no, but
somewhat. That's a different story.
So, talking about the microtransactions, right?
Yeah.
The thing about where Xbox was going, same people, right?
Yeah.
Where Xbox was going is they wanted to go everything to Games Pass.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Where you pay monthly for access to whatever they have on there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that they don't really actually care about producing that many physical copies of stuff anymore.
We want to go all digital.
All digital.
Yeah.
Yep. And guess what's been happening for the past 2 years or so? They're trying to go all digital, baby, for Dungeons and Dragons. They're making their new VTT, virtual tabletop. They're making
if it won't work in this industry, we'll push it on this one instead.
Well, see, the thing is like it did work. It was working in the gaming industry for a long time, and the thing is that it still works. Microtransactions still work.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is like gamers are starting to get really, really fed up with the microtransaction stuff, because whenever you buy a game, you're more so pointed towards the store instead of the game. Like, that's what they care more about. And there's a little tiny moth on my microphone. See you, buddy.
It's a nighttime butterfly.
Yeah. So, what does this have to do with Dungeons and Dragons and D&D Beyond? Right?
A lot.
So
you just don't have any idea.
Whenever it comes to D&D Beyond, I don't know if you knew this, Cheney. It's a subscription.
Yeah, I knew that. I knew that.
It's a subscription service, right?
Yeah.
And on top of having the subscription service, you also pay for each digital product that comes out. And if you make stuff third party for D&D, you can put it on D&D Beyond for them to get a cut of.
It's just a big fan service subscription.
It's the exact same thing that's been going on with consoles here and just the gaming industry for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
So where it's all going is they've said that they want to focus more on digital, right?
Yeah.
Because to be able to print and all that kind of stuff, we're
killing the trees.
To print, distribute, all that nice fun stuff. Big old fat waste of money. Whenever you selling PDFs, it's free money, right? Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I know.
Because,
I just don't like admitting it. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, whenever it comes to making a PDF and selling a PDF, it is in fact free money because you don't have to pay overhead for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Not much, at least.
Not much. I know there's a lot of minutiae that goes into that. Shut up.
Layout artists.
Yeah, there's a whole lot to it, but that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Once you make that first initial bid, your cost for entry, and I'm talking about from the creator standpoint, to make just a PDF, right?
Yeah.
Is next to nothing. Whenever it comes time to print physical, that next to nothing moves up to something, right?
Yeah.
Little dollar turns into big dollar. You know, so therefore
they want to keep big dollar.
They want to keep big dollar, and then they want to keep draining you monthly because guess who ends up buying most of the stuff for D&D? Who buys most of the things at a Dungeons and Dragons table? Most of the supplements, campaigns, all that kind of stuff. Who buys the most?
It's probably gonna be the GM.
It's the game master. It's the dungeon master.
Yeah.
Well, if you have 3 players and then a dungeon master, that's 4. That means that 1/4 of your player base is buying all your stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you have a table of 5 people, 4 players and a dungeon master, that means 20% of your players. 20% of your people are buying like 80% of your stuff. Right?
Yeah,
so
therefore, we know people.
Right. So therefore, if you're playing on D&D Beyond, and your character is available through there because a lot of people play online. I don't have a problem with people playing online, playing on virtual tabletops, anything like that. I personally prefer playing in person, but not everybody has that luxury, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing like the magic of playing tabletop in person. And playing online does not even come close to it. Like, it doesn't even hold a candle. They're not in the same room. They're not in the same ballpark.
But at the same time, like virtual the only good thing, I'd say the best thing about virtual tabletop is you do and can make friends from all over the world.
Yes.
That's probably the best part about it.
And
is the internationality of it.
And you're actually able to still play if you're interested and all that. And
absolutely.
I like
that about it.
I like that it exists,
right?
But
because we have international friends.
Yeah, absolutely. But the problem therein lies.
It's not the same as doing it in person though.
Right.
The magic's not quite there as seeing the room and the environment and
putting the minis down on the map and actually hearing the clickety clack of the math rocks and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's little nicks and charms to it all.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of extra charm to it, And even going and playing at conventions or at game stores with people you don't even know is still better than playing with people you do know on VTT.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what happens if it's not your turn and another person's, kind of struggling with their sheet to like kind of navigate it and all that stuff. You got to sit there. You're just going to sit there, and I know you're going to sit there at a physical table too. But the thing is like over Discord or over whatever chat thing that you use, a bunch of people talking over each other is just going to sound like noise.
Yeah.
Several people can help a certain person at the table and it not sound like noise. You know what I'm saying? And therefore it's the difference. But I'm not going to, this isn't, making the argument for, this isn't making the argument for virtual tabletop versus, because I'm in favor of both, honestly. I just prefer one over the other.
Right.
Regardless, they're trying to push even people that play in person to bring like laptops and iPads and stuff like that and apps on your phone to where you can have your character sheet, beep, 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 and you just rolled up a whole new character. Bam, done, and then ready to go. Sit at the table. You can even roll dice in the app. You can all that kind of stuff, right? You pay for it, and then you buy the supplementary materials. Your GM buys it, right?
Yeah,
and then you can distribute it to your table for free, right? Which is cool. That's cool.
All of it's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. But whenever they lean into it, right? And then keep the library on D&D Beyond. And then if you cancel your D&D Beyond membership, you now no longer have access to all the PDFs and stuff like that you've bought. So what does that do? That keeps you in the ecosystem. It's the Apple effect, right?
Yeah.
And so what they're trying to do is to unlock that recurrent spending from the other percentage of players, the big majority of people, because for the majority of D&D's lifespan, they have been carried by the whales, right? Which is any kind of like mobile app game, whatever, that has microtransactions and whatnot. You may spend a total of $10 on a like Pokemon Go out of your entire lifetime, which you're just like, I might, buy this little microtransaction. There's people out there spending hundreds of dollars weekly, daily. Easy, and they're called whales. You know what I'm saying? So in this context, your dungeon master is your whale.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Your whales have been carrying you. Now they're trying to find a way to lock you in to where they can also to get the small fish too, because they're greedy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people that weren't wise to this happening are becoming wise to this happening. Hasbro has released their earnings report for, it was either Q4 of 2024 or Q1 of 2025. I'm not sure. And Dungeons and Dragons was not mentioned once in that sucker. Not once. Whenever Wizards of the Coast made 70% or 75% of Hasbro's total revenue. You know what Wizards of the Coast owns? They own two things. Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering, right? Magic the Gathering is a money printing machine.
Yeah.
But they did not mention it. And the only things that they have said about D&D 2024, the brand new edition that they just put out, to get people to buy into this new system, and I don't mean new game mechanic system, I'm talking about this new payment model system. That's the whole reason they put out this new edition. They didn't actually care about, trying to update 5e. 5e, as far as when it comes to Dungeons & Dragons, is the best that they're going to get, best they can come up with.
Yeah.
Right? And so then they just kind of spruced it up, and it's basically the same. It's not much different. Not really. not enough to warrant buying more books. And then the physical books have also went up in price and all that nice fun stuff. So it's just like this whole vicious cycle that so about 10 to 20% of the fan base knew all of this.
Yeah.
From 2023. These are the people that go
to like cons and
people that go to conventions. There's people that watch YouTube and about people talking about tabletop.
Keep going. I'm going to look for my vape.
All right, you good. These are people talking about tabletop. These are people that, play other games other than Dungeons and Dragons. And now the people that only ever play Dungeons and Dragons have begun to catch on to this, and it's a little bit too late, right? Yeah. And so, like, with what they've been trying to do, they've been trying to, like I said, lock everybody into this kind of ecosystem in this walled garden. They don't want you to know that other games exist, right? They don't want you to know that, Shadow Dark, Knave, Deathbringer,
Realms of Elgrun.
They don't want you to know that all these.
Even.
I could rattle off 30 from the top of my head if I really wanted to, but I don't.
Yeah.
They don't want you to know about all these other games. They don't even want you to know about Pathfinder. The OGL was trying to screw over Pathfinder. They was trying to shut Pathfinder down out of business. Pathfinder's working on a new edition to scrub all of their D&D stuff because they did the open game license in Pathfinder because they were able to, right?
Right.
They've been working on a brand new edition to scrub every bit of it out of their books, right?
Good for them.
Good for them.
Good for them.
I've never played Pathfinder.
Never played it, but you know
what?
Good for the boys.
Good for them. I'm glad for them. It's given birth to all of these other systems and whatnot. And then
it's like the death of a star.
Well, so yeah, it's split the hobby into there's people that play D&D.
Yeah.
And then there's people that play tabletop.
Yeah.
Right. And the tabletop aspect
is
growing quite a bit, right? I think that Dungeons and Dragons has been exceptionally tone deaf whenever it comes to all this stuff.
Yeah.
And they got too greedy. They wanted too much money. Whenever they could have just kept it to what it was and been fine.
It would have been bigger now.
I don't think so. I think it reached an absolute critical mass as far as like money making during the pandemic, right? Because you had Critical Role popping off.
Pretty much an inevitable dying star.
Right. You had Critical Role popping off. You had Stranger Things, and then you had COVID.
Yeah.
Everybody was playing. Everybody was doing something because they were all bored, and so a lot of people came to tabletop. And then you talk about it came to an absolute zenith, and now it started to taper back down, which is not a problem, as long as it is stable. Then what's the issue? It's like the C-suite has stopped caring about people as players and only started caring about people as dollar signs. Mm-hmm. That kind of corporate greed has eked its way into Dungeons and Dragons.
It's the Microsoft microtransaction lords we're talking about here.
Yeah, and so that's why I think that D&D the company will fail.
Well, yeah, like Microsoft.
I think that at best another person will buy it, and then it's a possibility of it going through the exact same thing.
Yeah, just going through another cycle.
And a whole other cycle of it. But D&D, the tabletop, because a lot of people just stuck with 5e.
I think you're right. I think somebody will buy it and revive it somehow. And it'll
think
explode.
so.
It'll explode for a little bit.
Yeah.
But eventually it'll probably hit another zenith.
Because like the flagship of the hobby, Dungeons and Dragons, is one of the worst games out there on the market.
It's one of the slower ones. It's one of the more complicated, crunchy.
Very clunky.
Very clunky.
Very, very clunky.
Yeah.
There's a lot wrong to be said about how D&D works.
It's. I'm gonna make a comparison that makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
D&D is like fine art compared to like graffiti wild style.
Yeah.
Indie games are more like graffiti wild style.
Yeah.
There are no limits.
Yeah,
and that's why it's amazing. Which, I mean, yeah, it took time and craft and all that to make that fine art piece, but
I don't know.
that's not everybody's forte.
Yeah, I don't. It's like
It's kind of boring.
I don't want to say it's necessarily like fine art is soulless. I think that it's just like what you said. It's not everybody's cup of tea. Whenever you can come out with some more like stylized type something other, and then people like it.
I mean, we're in the future. Why are games clunky?
Honestly, yeah.
That's my point.
And
like there's a time and place for fine art, and there's a remembrance and a respect for it, but we're in 2025. Let's the wild style characters, that's the soul of today. That's the soul of tomorrow, the future.
Right. And then it kind of ties back into, what we was talking about last episode with all these other, game companies, big game companies buying up IPs.
Yeah.
And whatnot.
Yeah.
They had an opportunity to really make D&D sweat by themselves, right?
Yeah.
Like Fallout and Elder Scrolls could have done it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but then they just
pooped.
And it's just okay.
They pooped the britches.
Yeah, it's just okay at best,
Yeah.
But like you take whenever all right, I have like eight things running through my mind, and I'm trying to
sort them all out.
Trying to sort out which one, how I'm wanting to say this. Whenever your flagship game, the mountain that looms over all of tabletop games, is what it is.
Yeah.
Everything around it, if it wants to succeed, tries to be like the mountain. Right? It's like Lord of the Rings being the mountain that looms over all of fantasy, right? Mm-hmm. Every single bit of American and just Western fantasy in general
is trying to become part of that mountain range.
They try to exist alongside that mountain and live in the shadow of Lord of the Rings. Some of them succeed and do well. Some of them don't. Like you have Game of Thrones, you have Wheel of Time, you have Stormlight Archives. There's some really, really good ones. King Killer Chronicles, really, really good ones. And I'm literally just naming a couple, and there's a blue billion more, right?
Right.
But you can trace them all back to things that came from Lord of the Rings, right? Yep. And Lord of the Rings wasn't even the first one. Dungeons & Dragons wasn't the first one. Mm-mm. It was just the one that stood the test of time, popped off.
Because, there's been tales of, elves and dwarves since
the
beginning of time.
Oh, yeah.
But not the way Tolkien did it.
No. And so then, you look at over here in the States, because this is where I wanted to bring this conversation. Over here in the States, and in Western society, when it comes to tabletop, D&D is that mountain.
Yeah.
And so you have all these other games that come off of it, and they try to make better, more streamlined versions and more palatable versions of Dungeons & Dragons. And if that's your forte, that's your forte. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you like Dungeons & Dragons, even still, I have no issue with that. You know what I mean? I have issue whenever people aren't
keeping that.
I have issue whenever people aren't willing to try other stuff.
That's the problem.
Yeah. But, look, I have two books literally 2 feet behind me. Knave, 2nd edition, and Shadow Dark.
Yeah.
And those are different versions of Dungeons & Dragons. They are based on early versions of D&D, right?
Right.
And that to me is the problem here in the States. Whenever you try to be completely different, people are like, ooh, they kind of like, I don't know about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially in the South.
Dude, actually, it's just in general.
I know it's in general, but you can really feel it here.
I think
there's a little heat to it.
I think you feel that way because that's what you've experienced firsthand, if that makes sense.
Yeah. For sure.
But
that has been my experience.
Yeah. And trying to get people to
understand,
to buy into something brand new and wild, take a whole different approach to whatever. that's kind of hard to do. And then whenever you look at a country like Japan,
Yeah,
you know,
who's not afraid to do stuff like that.
who, if you begin to look, so here recently, and this is me talking to the audience because Cheney knows about this. Here recently, I've started to kind of do a deep dive of Japanese role-playing games, right? And here in the States, in Western society, it's Dungeons and Dragons. In Eastern society, the big number one fantasy game is called Sword World.
And now we're talking.
Yeah, now we're cooking with some gas.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about some good games now, baby.
Yeah.
So for over here in the States, and I'm using that as my proxy for Western society role-playing games, we base all of our games off of crunchy computer ran RPGs way back in the day, and war games that were mega crunchy and all that kind of stuff. And I guess you could actually say that computer-based RPGs came from
Math Lords
Tabletop.
made
But
these games.
do what?
Math Lords made these games.
Very much so, Math Lords. Whenever you look at Japan and what they have done, most of their games, if not all their games, are rules light, baby. And you look at the Dark Souls role-playing game that's in Japan. So here they're called tabletop RPGs, TTRPG, right?
Yeah.
Over there they're called TRPGs,
which is very interesting.
and very very different because they
there's
call
a
them
difference.
they call them table talk RPGs.
Yeah.
Where they're more story focused, and they still have, stats and
There's mechanics.
and rolls, mechanics, and all that kind of stuff. Our big dice over here is the D20. Their big dice over there is the 2D6.
Which is a lot smaller numbers.
Oh, yeah. And it actually has a bell curve because the D20 doesn't have a bell curve unless you start adding modifiers to it. But because, if you have just a flat D20, you have a 5% chance of rolling anything. Right. A 2D6 is a bell curve, and your absolute lowest numbers, 2, and it's a whole thing. But as I was saying, though,
simplified math.
They're more simplified and easier to understand games. So they have no translations of Sword World, no official translations, but you can find fan translations. And you start looking at how they do combat and whatnot. Dude, it's like a JRPG.
Which is cool.
The closest thing we have over here in the States is Fabula Ultima, which I know it's Italian people that made it originally. I'm talking about the States as the culture zeitgeist. Whenever they've kind of tried to make
something like a JRPG,
like a JRPG style thing. I really like Fabula Ultima, but whenever I look at stuff like Sword World, I'm like, ooh, man, you almost had it. You know what I'm saying? Because
it's still too westernized.
It's still a little too westernized. You know what I mean? But dude, you look at stuff like Sword World, and you're like, okay, this is cooking with gas now, baby. I'm like, because they're you could run their combat off of grid map if you want to. You absolutely can, right? They advertise 3 different forms of combat, and they each one gets simpler,
which is crazy.
And it plays like you're playing old school Final Fantasy or Chrono Trigger or anything like that,
which is really cool.
Yeah, and so that's what they're all based off of over there, and I'm like, yo, that's dope. You know?
They have this whole untapped thing over there.
It's a whole untapped market, dude.
Yeah,
it's a whole untapped market. They have big IP games over there of all their big fantasy things that they have.
Yeah.
And it's I know for us, we're, Japanophiles, we've been sitting here learning Japanese and all that kind of stuff. We care more about stuff like that. And then,
which is strange to other people.
Yeah, it's kind of strange to other people, and then because people have a hard time wanting to branch out and learn new fantasies and whatnot.
There's a whole world out there.
Because it's fantasy you kind of have to buy into, and you kind of have to be cool with, the science fiction part of things and the fantasy part of things. And kind of like buy into the world and whatnot. And it's like in Japan, there's like, yeah, bring it on, baby. Let's see what this is, you know.
Yeah, they don't care.
So we're, I guess you can say we're fans of Japan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they seem to be more open-minded about things.
Yeah.
When it comes to fantasy, like the possibilities.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I like about it.
I think too that
like they're just more open to dragons exist with robots. Okay.
I think that there's some really, really untapped potential for Japanese games over here.
Oh yeah.
And I think
it's coming.
I think it could be a generational thing.
It's coming.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah. The new kids on the block will definitely bring them over.
I lurk in a lot of places.
Oh,
right. Yeah. In a lot of tabletop spheres, and just kind of gauge what people say and what they think about things and whatnot. And I think that the average engaging player base of games, and whenever I say engaging, I mean the people that are like seeking out, forums and YouTube videos and like seeing what's actually out there, they happen to be older than mine and your generation, right? Whenever mine and your generation's kind of still stuck on D&D.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
So therefore,
we're kind of the oddballs out.
Oh yeah, we're definitely oddballs. And you see a lot of people that are our age trying to make, really cool things, and they just like can't hardly get that massive foothold in the industry unless it's something like Shadow Dark.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Something where it's familiar but different.
Streamlined.
Yeah.
Somewhat simpler, but it's still crunchy.
Yeah. See, like for me, like if I'm gonna play D&D, I'm playing Shadow Dark. You know what I mean? Because like
I would too.
It's the absolute best version of D&D in my opinion. But
if I'm gonna play D&D, I'd rather play Shadow Dark.
Yeah, because it's same game but better.
Yeah. It's got a cooler vibe.
Much cooler vibe. But like I was saying though, it's like that. It's like an age group kind of thing. It's like, how do you break your own age group against something that to them works just fine? Whenever they've not really had that experience of being exposed to more and better systems. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It's a whole thing that I think about decently a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, is it generational? Is it that people would rather go towards what's easiest, and what's easiest is what's most convenient to get a hold of instead of easiest to learn.
That sounds like our generation.
Yeah, like it really does. It's like
I'm sitting here thinking of, like, no offense, but like people that I'm closest to, and they're very much what's the easiest, most convenient, less headache thing I can do.
Yeah.
And exist.
Yeah, it's like let me do the
what's not going to rid me full of anxiety just to sit down and do.
And what's everybody else doing too?
And what's like, normal.
So it's like I said, it's just a whole thing. It's a whole can of worms.
I blame it on the South.
Why?
I don't know.
It's the same everywhere.
If I lived in the North, I'd blame it on them.
Yeah, you just blame it on your surroundings.
I blame it on my environment.
Go ahead and wrap this thing up, Bubba.
Yeah, all right. So I tell you what, folks, it's been a fun Capoca ride, but we're gonna wrap it up here. We appreciate you listening. We hope you guys like, comment, subscribe. Check out our other links to like our Discord and stuff like that. Yeah, super appreciate you guys listening, and we'll see you next time. Peace.